Hello, I am Emma and welcome to my new video series where I'm going to be taking two Godforge characters and analysing their character design by redrawing them as cartoon characters. I'm specifically going to be picking characters that I think together embody a common storytelling trope, and I'm going to talk about the archetypes that I think they represent, how they balance each other out, and how that is reflected in the original Godforge character designs, but also how I would exaggerate that to kind of bring the characters out more if, for example, I was given the task of redesigning these characters for a children's cartoon show. So my first impression of these two characters, like seeing them in the minigame, I think I did pull Hercules once, I didn't pull Apollo, but seeing them kind of around, I was always struck by how much character they have in their facial expressions, which is something that I really love about Godforge. How the heroes aren't just kind of all static and just kind of having a base face expression like in some other games. There's really so much character that comes through in all of these heroes, and I feel like Hercules and Apollo specifically are probably the two heroes I would least like to be stuck talking to at a party. Hercules looks like he would talk about himself for 30 minutes and then show me a bunch of videos of him doing deadlifts in the gym. And Apollo looks like he would ask me really, really intense questions and then look disapproving and bored when I don't give the answers that he was hoping that I would give. But yeah, this is something that I really, really like about Godforge. They both look annoying as heck, but they have so much character coming through, and I really love that. So in the original Greek myths, we obviously have Apollo, who is the god of, this is from Google overview, but light, sun, music, poetry, prophecy, healing, and archery. So he's the god of a lot of things, but with things like music and poetry included here, he's obviously a very cultured god. So on the flip side of that, we have Hercules, who is a demigod born to a human mother, and the god Zeus. It's said in the myth that Zeus's wife Hera was so jealous of Zeus having this illegitimate child, essentially, that she sent 12 snakes to his cradle, which Hercules killed as an infant. So he's been having to fight for his life from a very young age. Is known to have gone through all these trials to prove himself. So he's all about strength, fighting, resilience. So together they kind of perfectly embody the trope of brains versus brawn. Obviously Apollo is strong as well, but the kind of core of their characters is more intellectual versus just pure strength. But we're not going to get too deep into the heroes themselves, because this video is all about character design and just kind of what's communicated through the designs themselves. So the thing that stands out to me first when I look at the full models of this is they obviously don't have as much facial expression as the portraits, but a lot of what is kind of coming through in the portraits is also coming through in the body language of the characters. Obviously, they're both very confident and, proud men, but the way they are posing is very different. Hercules looks very relaxed. He looks like a man that is secure in himself. He's got shoulders back, squared, facing forward, head up, relaxed facial expression. While Apollo, he's got a much more controlled facial expression. He's got his chest up, he's really really flexing. I think Hercules looks like a man who is confident in himself, while Apollo looks like a man who is confident, but is also very aware that people are watching him. The second thing that I think is really interesting is kind of where the weight is in their characters, and kind of the hierarchy of shape and weight in their designs. So Hercules, for example, he's got this massive shoulder pad over here. He's got his weapon that's pointing in the same direction. He's got this gauntlet that's pointing towards, everything is pointing toward his shoulder where his massive armor is. While Apollo, he's got these massive, insane boots, which are very bottom heavy. He's got this bow that's pointing towards the boots. So everything in Hercules' design is pointing upwards. Everything in Apollo's design is pointing downwards. So if I were to give these a shape that I feel represent their designs, then Apollo is a downward triangle where the weight of his design is mostly downwards, while Hercules is an upward triangle where the weight in his design is mostly upwards. So as I am making these into cartoon characters, these are the shapes that I would exaggerate to kind of give them very distinct body shapes, but also they perfectly mirror each other and will balance each other out. So I would make Apollo I would put his waist higher and put the weighting way more towards the bottom. But with Hercules, I would put his waist lower and kind of exaggerate the weight towards the top. So essentially, Hercules is going to have kind of like the body shape of Johnny Bravo, and we're going to make Apollo have something like the body shape of Peridot from Steven Universe, with this really bottom-heavy design with a lot of focus on these insane but fantastic boobs. But that's one of the things that I love about animation and cartoons, is how you can really exaggerate bodies and proportions to tell a story through like body shape and movement, not just through, you know, dialogue and facial expressions. Enough chatting, let's get drawing. So as discussed in the last step, we're kind of going to start with these extreme shapes of the two triangles. So I'm not going to make you watch the entire thing, but we'll get the kind of base down together, and then I'll probably speed through some of the rest. So if we start by kind of getting their heads down, I do usually like to start with heads and faces, but I'm going to try and get the bodies down first this time. So let's start with Hercules. Okay, let's get started on Apollo. Just get the main shapes down. For Apollo, we want him to like really be pushing his chest forward like he is in the original drawing. So we kind of got him like this. Way more of a short torso, but I still want him to look muscular, obviously. So I think that's the main shapes that we're going for. So we're gonna focus on the faces for a little bit. I feel like once I have like the facial expressions in, it's way easier to get like the rest to kind of match up. So when it comes to their faces, just like their bodies, I really want to exaggerate like their personalities here. For Hercules, he's got this really strong jaw. I think Hercules' face should be kind of like an exaggerated. That should be the general shape of his face. And for Apollo, we're gonna have this way more like narrow, like triangular face with him as well. So let's say something like that. I think I'm gonna have Apollo look down slightly. I also just love a pair of big ears on a character, so I'm definitely gonna be exaggerating their ears slightly. Something like that for Apollo. Problem here is that Apollo kind of looks like a baby, but he does kind of look like a baby. Like he's got a very, you know, soft, unshaven baby face. I really need to exaggerate the locks on Hercules. So let's kind of go in something like this. Yeah, okay, that's good enough for now. And then Apollo's got these like really funny locks here, like coming in around his face and then out that way. So we got kind of inwards and then outwards. So like give him like a really insane hairdo. Obviously, we don't need to go into much detail on the top of his head because it's all going to be hidden by his crown. I've been doing a little bit of work off camera just to get this finished, but here is the final line work, and here they are. Hercules and Apollo, coming to Nickelodeon soon. I hope that this has been fun to watch and that I have been able to highlight some of the amazing work that has gone into these characters. Obviously, we all know that the characters in Godforge look amazing, but as an artist, it's really fun to revisualize characters that you love in your own style. Doing an exercise like this really helps you to really take a close look at kind of the shape language that is being used and how that impacts how we look at these characters, and also how they can balance each other out when you put two different characters next to each other like this. It's been great to spend a little bit of time with the lads and give them the love that they deserve. If you've liked this video, please do subscribe, like, give a comment. It takes a lot of time to make these odd videos, and I know it's a little bit not your typical kind of gaming content, but I would love to keep doing them, so it would mean the world to me if you gave this video a little bit of love. Thank you so much, and bye.